Hey everybody, Alex from SeemsGoodMagic.com here. We're back in Swiss doing another Oath of the Gatewatch Battle for Zendikar draft. Once again, open Remorseless Punishment. I swear, I have opened this card so many times. It is crazy. I think the first pick's Allied Reinforcements. The next most powerful would probably be the Saddleback Lagak. I think Reinforcements is better though. It's just got more putting two bodies down for the same price. They're allies, so it works with all the Into the Battlefield allied tokens. It works well with Cohort. Just more synergies, I think, with the Reinforcements than there is with the Lagak. And like if you're in top deck mode, you'd much rather top deck a Reinforcements, I think, than a Lagak most of the time. Yeah, nothing else super close, to be honest. It's really just Reinforcements versus Lagak. I don't want to first pick a Grafter. I don't want to first pick a Chain Mage. So, all right, Reinforcements to start her off. Follow-up pick. We can take the Spawnbinder Mage. We can take the Prophet of Distortion. Prophet doesn't go super well with our first pick, since you typically don't want to be in kind of colorless mana matters cards. And the same kind of goes with Havoc Sower. Like, both of these cards are probably the best in the pack, but I don't think they synergize the best with the first pick. I mean, it's still early enough where I can second pick the most powerful card. The problem is it almost like negates your first pick. It kind of sends you down a varying path. Whereas if I second pick a Spawnbinder Mage, it's got fantastic synergy with my first pick, and it still leaves me open to black-white, red-white, even green-white. I imagine Spawnbinder Mage is pretty good in a green-white allies deck. There's also Scion Summoner. I don't think that's as good as the Mage. I like the Aeronaut too. I'm going to take the Spawnbinder Mage. Just goes better with our first pick. Okay, I could get another Spawnbinder Mage. But now I could actually take the Seed Guardian. Start moving towards a green-white deck. I might just want the Spawnbinder Mage instead. I think Seed Guardian's good. I've kind of found this card in particular, as well, I guess, as the Sire, Cyclone Sire. The dies affect creatures are a little bit worse than you would expect them to be in this format because of cards like Oblivion Strike and Isolation Zone and Stasis Snare. Just these exile effect cards, style removal, tend to be a little bit more common than you would expect. There is a Zada's Commando in here, which is also good. I think I'm just going to take the second Spawnbinder Mage and be okay with that, though. Okay, Captain's Claws seems good. There's also Shoulder to Shoulder, but I'm fine with taking the Captain's Claws already. It seems like a good plan. Feeds into the Cohort plan well. Doesn't commit me to a second color still. I like Shoulder to Shoulder. I never seem to play this card, but I think it's a good card. And there's really nothing else in this pack that I think I care about. Dwar Isle Avenger is fine. Let's take the Claws, though. I like that. Okay. Sky Climber, Aeronaut, and Alpha Protector. 3 ally white cards. There's a Stalking Drone, but that doesn't really feed into the ally plan. I think I like the Sky Climber more than the Aeronaut. Aeronaut's 2 mana, though. And you don't have to pay to give it flying. Yeah, I mean, I think they're about even on power level, to be honest. The Sky Climber and the Aeronaut. Aeronaut probably better against the aggressive decks. They're both kind of equally good with Captain's Claws, although you have to give this flying to get in more profitably, but this beats down pretty well. I'm going to take the Sky Climber over the first Aeronaut, I think. A third Spawnbinder Mage. Well, I can do it. At this point, we're on to our 6th pick, Dwar Isle Avenger. That doesn't necessarily mean blue is open, though. This card is really... I can't really say Dwar Isle Avenger is fantastic in a white-blue ally-themed deck, really, you know? I think I'm just going to continue to cut white here. Third Spawnbinder Mage, like I said, is a bit awkward, but I think it's fine. We can take the Weapons Trainer. There's a Grip of the Royal. No white card to take. Shrieker's fine. I probably want the weapons trainer. Pairs well with the captain's claws, and it's an ally. Another Avenger in here. I'm going to take the ally, though. Some Mighty Leaps, Pulse of Marasa, Scion Summoner, and Unnatural Endurance. I think I'm going to take the Summoner. Mighty Leap is fine and good, but I don't really like it all that much, and I think Summoner can work well in a green-white deck. Most of the time, if you're in green, you probably want Scion Summoner. Okay, a bit of a miss here. I don't really like Warden of Geometries all that much. I could take the Cinder Hellion. Currently, if I was going to go into a second color, I think I would prefer the red, because I like Weapons Trainer more than Scion Summoner. There's a Negator and a Void Grab. I think I'm going to take the Hellion, though. If red pans out, that would be nice. Okay, we can take the Bone Saw. I don't particularly like it, but it does have synergy with Weapons Trainer. And there's nothing else, so okay. Canopy Gorger or Dazzling Reflection. I think we'll cut the white card. Flexion seems playable. Not hyper exciting. I guess we can take the Toll Collector. We have a couple pieces of equipment, but probably, whatever, it's playable. 3/2s have been actually kind of good in this format, surprisingly. All right, late Timber Gorge is nice. Possibly opening me up for a green splash if one comes up. So I would like to be white. I definitely think we're sharing white because we didn't see a lot of white wheel. Vile Redeemer is okay. Oblivion Strike is good. I might just want the Ondu War Cleric. War Cleric is definitely good. Unfortunately, there's some off-color cards here that are just good. Like, I think Redeemer is fine, but I'm looking at, like, Depleter, Oblivion Strike, Blinding Drone. All of these cards are good. But War Cleric is excellent, too. And we have a good base for it, so it feels like it is the correct pick for our deck. Seagate Wreckage. Yeah. Not super excited about that. Bushwhacker seems good. It works with... well, it's an ally, so it works with Cohort. It can be aggressive, definitely. Works, I guess, okay with Bonesaw. All right, I guess we're going to take Bushwhacker over Searing Light and Press into service. Eiley and Vampire Envoy, you say? Well, that's cool and all, but I think we're going to take the second Cinder Hellion. It's a fine top end. There's no white card in here, so we're definitely sharing white, as expected. But I'm not going to take a Bonesaw over a Cinder Hellion. I think Cinder Hellion's fine anyway. Okay, I mean, I could splash a Path Warden. We're definitely seeing blue cards. I don't want to opt into blue now, though. I can. I just don't like it. Especially since if you opt into blue on a Blinding Drone, I also have to commit myself to taking colorless mana sources, which I also don't like. I can take the Path Warden. I can take the Pathfinder, but I don't like that either. Path Warden's at least an ally, I guess. Can splash it off a Timber Gorge, maybe find a holdout settlement. Nothing else in here I care about. I'm not going to splash a Summoner, though, I don't think. Okay, I'm going to take the Aeronaut now. It's an ally, it evades, it works well with Captain's Claws. Works well with Cohort, it's cheap. Soothsayer's in here. But I'm going to take the Aeronaut. Okay, I can take the holdout settlement now. I think it actually works out fine for us. Maybe still allows us to splash this Path Warden or another green card if we find a better one. But otherwise, I could take the Step Glider. We don't have any +1/+1 counter effects, though, do we? Guess we don't. I mean, Step Glider's fine. I think I'm going to take the settlement, though, over it. Could take the Vestige. Also allows you to splash, I guess. Otherwise, I can take Gambit, which is a fine sideboard card. I'm going to take the Vestige. I wish we had more need for colorless mana. If I had taken those blinding drones, I guess we would have ended up. See, I think the problem that I think a lot of people watching these drafts, where blue is clearly the open color, a lot of them are going to just say you should have gone into blue. Here's the problem. Like I mentioned before, I ended up getting colorless mana, but you can't just take blinding drones and then expect to run into colorless mana. Blinding Drone's not a good card without colorless mana. We happen to end up with colorless mana, so if I had taken blue cards, I could have just dumped all of these red cards and gone into blue-white. But I don't think that necessarily would have made for a great deck either. Like, Blinding Drone doesn't really fit in with a blue-white deck anyway, especially with a blue-white deck that already has tappers that want you to be playing allies. So, Outfitter's just probably one of the best pickups I think our deck could have asked for. Now we can pick up maybe a wheeled Bonesaw and end up with a really cool deck. So we're getting rewarded for kind of falling into red because this Weapons Trainer is going to get a lot better now. And I think there is a decent chance that we can wheel that Bonesaw. It certainly isn't a popular pick anyway. Cinder Barons for a black splash. Reflector Mage, which we can splash off Holdout Settlement and Vestige. Possibly a better splash than Path Warden. I guess I'll take the Reflector Mage. It's okay. I don't know how I feel about splashing a Reflector Mage, but when you have a Holdout Settlement and a Vestige, it seems like it's a fairly free splash. Vines of the Recluse, not great splash. I guess Pathfinder is okay now if we have a couple colorless mana sources. Okay, wield the Bonesaw, so we'll take it. I mean, take a second Pathfinder, I guess. I prefer not to play them. Okay, so I think at this point I kind of just want to stick to the... I probably just want to stick to a red-white plan. I think given that I've got the Outfitter, I would prefer to make this deck just two-color. Probably don't want to play this either, but I will if I have to. Probably just want to make this deck a two-color. We don't have any removal? All right, what does Zada do in this deck? If we'd pick it up like Expedite or something, it would have been better. Blade Master's very strong. I think Blade Master's probably got to be better for us. It's also an ally. Works with all of our allies. Works pretty amazingly well with Cinder Hellion, even though Hellion's not an ally. Works well with anything equipped when Outfitter's out. We have nothing for Zada right now anyway, so yeah, I think we're just taking Blade Master over turn against. Predator would be fine, but we can stick to the ally theme for now. Royal's Retribution's fine. I think I might like Touch more. Shadow Glider's not an ally. Maybe we wheel Lookout or Shadow Glider. I like that Touch of the Void burns face, though. We're currently looking like a 17 land deck, I think, where our top end is not that significant. Ondu Champion. There is a Deathless Behemoth, which is a very strong card. There's also Cliffside Lookout. I mean, Deathless Behemoth is the strongest card by a mile. I might just want to take it. It's really tough to deny the power level of this card. It really is matters not even a little bit that you have no way to bring it back from your graveyard to your hand. A 6-mana 6/6 Vigilance is just a powerhouse card. It punishes us a little bit for the 17 land strategy, but like taking a Slide Runner, a Champ, or a Lookout over it just seems plain wrong. I'm going to take the Behemoth. So second shot at Ondu Champion. I mean, giving our guys trample doesn't seem... It's another way to activate... Like, Blade Master and Champion are good friends together. I think I'd probably just prefer the Nettle Drone. It's... Actually, McKindy Patrol with Cohort seems better. Nettle Drone's really good all the time when you're in red, but Patrol actually has good synergies in this deck. If you play a Patrol and you have Spawnbinder Mage, you get to attack plus Cohort, which I think is certainly not irrelevant in this deck where we already have a metric ton of allies. It also tends to work well with Outfitter. Vigilance on equipped creatures when you're already buffed seems really good. Yeah, we're going to take the Patrol. There's a Pilgrim's Eye, which I guess actually works well with the Captain's Claws and Bone Saws, and, you know, it still works with Outfitter. I can take the Nettle Drone now, even without the synergies. It still works fine with Blade Master. Works with Touch of the Void and Deathless Behemoth and Captain's Claws and even the Bone Saws. So I'm not going to be splashing a third color, which I guess makes the Pilgrim's Eye slightly less exciting. But if I can't hit my land drops, the Pilgrim's Eye might be better for that. And it finds you... We're not super color intensive, though. I think I still want the Nettle Drone. I think we want to be able to beat down more than land fix, I would say. Nettle Drone really just can put games away, too, which is just nice. Probably taking the Felidar Cub for sideboard in case we encounter any pesky... I mean, I can main deck it for now. I think we're probably going to end up finding something better. But it can be good against Isolation Zone and there's other enchantments that can be good against, too. All right, Turn Against versus Touch of the Void. I probably still want Touch of the Void. I like Turn Against, but I think our top end is pretty much complete. And it's a fine 23rd card to have, I think. We definitely need some more removal, too. In fact, the 2 Touch of the Voids are our only removal spells, so it just seems correct to take it. All right, Tabled Cliffside Lookout. I can probably just play that over the Cub main deck. I like Cliffside Lookout. It's also an ally. I like Vestige. This doesn't strike me as the deck for it, but it's not really a Fortified Rampart deck either, so I guess we'll take the Vestige. I don't think we're playing it, though. Second Lookout is a lot worse than the first, but I might play it over a Toll Collector, honestly. Well, maybe I will play it over a Toll Collector. Toll Collector doesn't seem like something this deck needs. Blister Pod can be annoying in the right deck. Take a Great Horn, I guess. I think this deck looks fine. It has synergies, which I like. Like, I like the Outfitter and the Weapons Trainer with our 3 equipment cards. I like that we can get away with running 17 lands. I like that we have a good late game with Behemoth and Double Cinder Hellion, and Blade Master, too, is a fine one. We have more than just the Touch of the Voids as removal if you count the Spawnbinders. This isn't the ideal Spawnbinder Mage deck. They tend to work a lot worse in a beatdown deck, but I think they'll be fine here. With the equipment, we actually have a good late game plan. Eyeless Watcher seems like a good card against us because we're trying to be a bit more on the aggressive side. This deck looks good. I can't rate it super high because what I like about it is I think it actually ended up with great synergy. If you do an ally count, I bet it's through the roof. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 allies, which is just like just a fantastic amount of allies. Cohort synergy, so triple Spawnbinder mate. Actually, did I count allied reinforcements? We might actually have 15 if I didn't count this, which I don't think I did. And this deck actually has a great late game plan, like I said, so I'm not even super worried about Flood. We could get mana screwed, but I feel like it's a little more difficult to happen when our curve is mostly 4 and less. We only have 4 cards that are 5 or more mana and only 1 6-drop, so it feels like we're less likely to get mana screwed. And like I said, we have some great mana sinks for Flood with the Lookouts, and thought we had another one. but maybe we don't. Well, our top end and the lookouts, I guess, which is fine. Even Sky Climber, I guess, wants a little bit of mana. I feel like our deck grinds fairly well. We don't grind. Our removal, I'm going to rate really low. We ended up with 2 Touch of the Voids and 3 Spawnbinder Mages. It's tough to count Spawnbinder Mages as straight up removal, too. So I think I'm going to rate our removal probably like a 5 out of 10. I think it's the spawn. It probably, if we just ended up with 2 Touch of the Voids, I think it would have been like 3 out of 10, just for being so low. But I'll give 3 Spawnbinder Mages a couple more points. So our removal is 5 out of 10. I think our creatures are actually give this deck a pretty high rating. They're not insane, but they're pretty good. And like Deathless Behemoth is going to be strong in here. Weapons Trainer and Outfitter are decent in here as creatures too. That'll go more towards synergy grade, but same with allies. So if I just rate synergy real quick, I think it's actually super high, because not only do we have this Outfitter Weapons Trainer theme with equipment, but we have a really significantly good ally theme going. So I think in terms of that, I can rate our synergy up in probably like, especially since the Outfitter and Trainer are both allies themselves, I might rate our synergy like 9 out of 10. I think it's super high. We just have and the Blade Master is just going to be really strong in here too. So synergy 9 out of 10, removal 5 out of 10. Creatures, I probably rate about a 7. I think the Cinder Hellions could play well in here because we're fairly aggressive. So that just leaves Curve, which I also think is like probably like a 7.5. So a 5, a 7, a 7.5, and a 9 probably equates to about a 7.5, something like that, right? 7.25. Seems like it's about a 7.25 deck, which is about a 72%. So I think the removal being so low is really what's bringing the points down on this deck. Especially with an aggressive deck, you really need to be able to remove the pesky blockers. But all in all, I like this deck. I think it looks like it's going to be fun. We're not a color-intensive deck, which is nice. And we got some cool equipment cards to interact positively with our Weapons Trainer and our Outfitter. So I like that as well. Let's rate this deck as 72%. I don't think we need the Holdout Settlement or Vestige. I just think there's no need for either. So let's just do a split where we do, we're going to do 9-8 towards white, because I want to hit that turn 2 Weapons Trainer. I think it's something we're looking forward to. All right, 72% deck. Could have been a lot higher if we'd ended up with just a bit more removal. A bit better removal than a couple Touch of the Voids and Spawnbinder Mages. But still getting a C out of this deck seems fine to me, and it looks like fun to play. So we'll see you round 1.